Hello, and welcome to another installment of BMC's YouTube mainframe channel. My name is Tom Nurse, and I'm a senior software consultant at BMC. Today's topic is MainView console management, how to connect to the HMC. Here we see the MVCM viewer receiving events from several sources, including Z-Series master consoles and HMCs. These messages are interspersed chronologically. Typical HMC messages can include hardware error messages, user logins, and IPL NIP console events. These are the very types of messages that need to be monitored, with key events being brought to the fore for quicker response, use in monitoring and maintaining the health of the various LPARs, and use in automation, such as the one-button shutdown and IPL. In addition, monitored HMCs can have a list of commands that a system programmer or hardware manager has set up that say, do a load or an activate, or a power on reset, which we can do for the LPAR or the entire KEK. But first, we need to get connected to the HMC. There are three areas of focus. Configuration must be done on the MainView console management side to specify the targeted HMC. Also, any HMC which we wish to bring in must be set up to allow our connection from MVCM. And finally, there's the network, specifically any firewall between the HMC and the MVCM server. So let's start on the network. These ports must be open in the firewall. 443. This is for the admin web interface. 6794. This is the primary API port. Now, this is the port that the HMC uses for communication. This value is set by IBM and cannot be changed. So if there's a firewall between the MVCM server and the HMC, it is necessary to have the network person open this port. And also 61617. This is the active MQ port that MVCM needs for HMC event notifications. Next, let's look at configuring the product. Once you're logged in as administrator, go to Console Automation and edit the automation server you wish to connect to one or more HMCs. We'll create a new HMC connection. As described in our documentation, here's the main panel to configure. We will give this HMC a name. This is the name that will show up in the viewer to identify to the user the source of the messages from this HMC. Note that we are going to set access method to web services. We do allow SNMP to be used for connections to the HMC, but this is not recommended. So for this video, we'll concentrate on the more modern and popular web services method of communicating with the HMC. The host name is the domain name or IP of the HMC. The user and password will most likely be dedicated for use by MVCM. This credential will have a high level of authority in the HMC. For example, a user that can IPL on the KEKs and LPARs that you'll be managing with MVCM. Enter this here, and keep this username in mind for the next section when configuring the HMC. Here are the items that your HMC administrator needs to address in order to allow access from the MVCM Linux server to the HMC API. 1. Check to make sure that web services are enabled. 2. Check to make sure that the web services are enabled for the IP address of the MainView console management server. Keep in mind that there are often dual NICs in the MVCM server. This is to access both the public and private LANs. You should select the IP of the NIC that is on the same LAN as the HMC. And 3, check that the user ID is permitted to use the API. This user ID was from the previous section when we configured MVCM. All three of these sections are detailed in the HMC documentation. Search for these section titles in the manual to correspond to these three areas. Okay, the ports are open and both MVCM and the target HMC are configured. Let's go back to the product and try it. We hit Next and Success. MVCM discovers all the keks and alpars. If instead you see a failure such as connection refused or host not found, you would revisit the 3 areas to make sure everything is configured properly. Now, how to further configure the HMC to include actions and rules, we'll cover this in subsequent videos. Okay, that concludes today's session. If you'd like to be notified of upcoming events, simply subscribe to this channel. And if you like what you saw, hit the like button. That's it for now. Thank you and see you next time.